Welcome back to TEYARA SMP, a TNP Limitless 7 series, and this is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode this week. I unfortunately haven't been in a creative groove the past week, so we don't have too much to talk about, but we do still have some progress. And it'll become immediately apparent that I've added some walls, or I'm starting to add walls to the forge, and you'll also notice that I've changed the slope on this framework here, so it's a little bit more 45 degrees. Before I think it was closer to 30 or something like that. Actually, it was probably closer to 22 and a half. Yeah, that's the correct angle. But you can see that I've changed the slope, and I've also added this portcullis as, sort of a fence between the zones. And if we just hop over here, you can see that we've also punched a hole in the wall for the mine. And I've talked about it before, but I wanted to run a rail line, a very short rail line, but a rail line nevertheless, up into the forge area. And so now we have a system by which we can put some of the ember stuff and other materials that we might want to smelt into a minecart chest, push the button, send it on up above, and then we've got another button up top. So also, that means that we can now go into the mines without ever going outdoors. It's a little bit of a circuitous route, depending upon where you are in the forge, but we can now go down these stairs, through here, into the mines, and just never open the gate. So that means that enemies are less of a threat, but they can still get inside. Because if we come up here, you can see that I haven't quite finished out the wall over here, and this part in particular is where things can still walk in. I had myself exploded by a warp creeper of some sort, and, well, it didn't kill me, and it also didn't damage the blocks, because this area is in my chunks, and so I've got explosion damage off. But it warped me, it was really startling. Anyway, enough of that. So, let's focus on the walls next. You can see that, for the most part, we've been using this creamstone bricks, especially down below, and sort of the narrative is that it's all a similar material to the mud bricks that we're using as the floor, but then the outside of these walls are exposed to the sun, so that causes them to sort of dry out and fade a little bit, so that's why we've got the creamstone. And then as we go up, the heat of the forge contributes to that factor. And so we've also got these sandstone bricks from Domum Ornamentum, same as the creamstone bricks mod. And then, if we go up just a little bit, we also have sandstone bricks from Chipped, and you'll notice that they are also spelled slightly differently. They have very similar textures, but the Domum Ornamentum sandstone bricks are slightly darker because of this additional pixelation in here, in my opinion. So we've got some very, very subtle gradient going on here. And then as we go even further up into the area of the forge where you'd expect maybe some of the smoke to start accumulating on blocks, then we're going to transition up into end bricks, and then finally some of the larger Caminite bricks, because that just looks like they have a layer of soot kind of added to it. And of course we've also added creamstone bricks on the outside of downstairs, so the downstairs is almost completely safe. An enemy would basically have to walk in here and then pathfind its way just randomly without seeing the player over onto these elevators, or, fall down here, and then attack. And that's just not terribly likely. So the area is becoming safer as I work on it. That's great. Nothing really to talk about in the back just yet, but it is going to come up when we go further this way. So if I come, no, not that way, my bad. I'm already getting turned around in this new layout. So if we come downstairs, we now have this new staircase off to the right-hand side, and it's not nearly complete, but keep in mind that the creamstone bricks are, the lighter ones because they've been drying out, exposed to the outside, etc. These cut ochre bricks from Create, I think, are also in the same color family, and we can treat that, because we're downstairs, away from the heat, and also on the inside of the building, this is kind of how I imagined the base material of all the rest of this stuff to be. So as we go down, you'll see more of this the cut ochre bricks, and eventually I just wanted to put in a nether portal, because we haven't had one of those yet. We've been going over to Axel's base, and while that certainly works and is good and all, we needed one here. So I put a large hall in here, and this is where we have to enter the imagination a little bit. You'll also see that as of right now, we have some of the rail line from mine level 57 crossing above this, and once again, this is kind of a Final Fantasy XI thing with all the strange layouts and the like. Yes, we can get from here to the mines, but, you know, we have to go back up into the forge, go up the elevator, and then down the stairs and into the mines. And the mines also go above this new nether portal hall. And I don't know, I just think that sort of adds to it in a video gamey way. The future plans for this series is going to be just a little bit more realistic with the city planning, but this is still in the fantasy section, so I thought it'd be cool if, you know, there's a little bit of madness in the layout of these things. It doesn't have to be efficient per se, it just has to do what I want it to do, and it does. So let's talk about this room. It's rather big, and the thing is, originally, it was 11 wide. It is now expanded to 13 wide, but when it was 11 wide, I was thinking, okay, let's do a combination of like the golden ratio and Fibonacci numbers. So it was originally 11 wide. At the bottom of the stairs, going all the way back to where, you know, the wall is 18 blocks, which is just 11 times the golden ratio, phi, or phi, I'm not sure which it is. Then I decided, okay, well, we do have this entrance to the mines here. Let's bump it back a little bit so that this looks a little bit less weird, and we're going to put in some netherite bricks, or not netherite bricks, netherrack bricks. And that should frame this in a little bit better. It won't look quite as flat, I'm hoping. And so we're going to, you know, do a lot of aesthetic stuff in this room. But it is now 13 bricks across, or blocks across. And the reason is, you know, because of that, and also because we're going to put some lava in here, and I wanted to add some, like, details of pillars and stuff coming out. I don't know if I'm going to have lava flowing down from floor to ceiling, but that's an option. I'm also considering having just, like, some pillars coming out of the lava with just braziers on them. That might also look really good. And so once I figured out, you know, a good block aesthetic for this room, then we have to talk about the portal. So, originally the portal was just up against the wall, and then I had an idea. I wanted this portal to be just a little bit more grand than that, so we're going to add a framework here flush with the wall, and then we are going to add some details from a combination of embers and create, much like we did with the sawmill. And what I'm planning is just having a bunch of pipes from both mods sort of plugged into different bits of casing to make it look like we are using the embers and steam power and create stuff to make this portal work. Kind of almost like a steampunk Victorian anime kind of aesthetic going on. And then, if you keep in with the imagination, this layer is going to have a door that's almost like cut in half. This is an 8 tall thing, so we have an even height, but a odd width, and that works out perfectly because I'm planning on having a door that half of it retracts into the floor, and then you walk across it to get into the portal, and half of it comes up. And we can accomplish this by putting in a couple of gantry shafts separated by a vertical gearbox, and that will make them turn opposite directions. I am going to have to play with the gantry layouts and the doors and all that whatnot, because that is going to require some precise measuring, but that's a-okay. And I think we can also hook it up to a cyclic entity detector, much like we did the doors up at the top of the forge. And if we set it to a 9-second delay between when it opens and shuts, we can make it such that it still shuts while the portal is loaded on this side after a player has gone through. And moreover, because we'd be using a player detector, we can also have the doors open up if a player should come in from the nether side. And, you know, that might be a little bit slower than I would like. We can play with the speed controls as necessary to get a good experience, but I think that'd be really cool. And so then I finally put in the portal, and if we step through to the other side, we have this. Now, I'm not going to stay here too long because we might get gasted, and that would be a very bad thing. But the portal, it spits us out over lava. We're in a very interesting biome, and you can also see that on the journey map and, you know, just down below, there is some kind of fortress under the lava, and I think that'd be really cool to explore, but I don't really have time to deal with that today. And also, I've been thinking about how I want to deal with the fact that our portal is just floating in the middle of the air. So one thing I want to do is make the portal as large as it is on the overworld. Then we're going to put it back on this thing so that we don't accidentally go through the wrong way when we return to the overworld, I should say. And then finally, I'm planning on almost making it look like there's a tear in reality, and we'll have sort of a copy of the framing with all the create stuff on this side as well, and we'll just have pipes going off to nowhere, and we'll have sort of crags in the tear of space-time, and then we'll just have a platform that extends out a little bit from whichever way is the correct entrance to the nether, I should say, and then we'll have a gantry elevator, probably, that goes all the way from the nether ceiling, and we'll probably punch through just to make it even better, all the way down to probably the lava layer. I can't imagine wanting to go down into it, but that is what we have to work with, and that's kind of what I think might end up happening in the next few episodes. Sadly, I just don't have a whole lot more time this week, and I just haven't been feeling it, I guess. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, and click that bell to be notified, and as always, I'm looking forward to your feedback in the comments below. And with that, I will catch you on the flip side. Thanks for watching, everybody. In the upper left is the next video in the series, or a video you might like. In the lower left is the series playlist, and on the right is my icon by which you can subscribe. Thanks again for watching.